glad you could be with us for part 2 of our conversation with the senior senator from Massachusetts, Senator Elizabeth Warren. Once again, I welcome you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here. So, in the wake of the recent Supreme Court decision that ordered higher education institutions to disregard race in their admissions policies, Senator, a number of prominent colleges and universities have said, okay, no more legacy admissions either. Children of alumni, etc. Harvard University, big legacy admissions program. Should they drop it?
Yep. I also think they should take a look at the country club sports that also have implications for who it is who's making it into college. Recruited athletes to play squash.
Yeah, as we saw
golf.
in that scandal involving the, I forget what sport it was, but yeah.
You know, but this is going to be one of the interesting parts, John. I think the Supreme Court was wrong on the law about affirmative action. I also think they're wrong about saying that schools who are trying to build their own student bodies and kids who have interactions with each other in a way that this is part of their educational mission are not permitted to consider the issue of race. I think they're wrong on that. But I think what's going to be interesting now is to watch the fallout. And a lot of people who thought, oh, all of the tilt in the system was over on race are going to discover, no, actually a lot of the tilt in the system was for who your grandparents were, who your parents were, and whether or not your folks can afford to hire fancy coaches for you in fancy sports that are very expensive to start playing when you're 10 and 11 years old.
Do you feel uncomfortable calling Harvard out on this?
No. Why should I?
I don't know. You've taught there, your husband works there, you've had a long association with Harvard.
You know, I think that we have to have a hard look at access to higher education for everyone. It's not special to Harvard or to any other school. We live in a world where post-high school education has become more and more urgent. And that may be technical school or 2-year college or 4-year college or 4 years of college and years of graduate training, all of the above. This is what America needs to build a future. And we've got a lot of problems there right now, including the one that says for kids who are born into families that can't just write a check to send them off to college, they have to take on the kind of debt that can crush them if anything goes wrong. We say, in effect, to 18-year-olds and 19-year-olds, if you weren't smart enough to be born into a richer family, then if you try college, if you try technical school, if something goes wrong and you get sick or mom gets sick or your family has to move or somebody gets pregnant, you could end up with a debt burden that will be with you literally for decades. And I think that's a terrible mistake for us.
Well, you know, student debt has been a big issue of yours for years now. And the Supreme Court threw out the Biden plan. Now he's making other moves. But Joe Biden's re-election campaign is already struggling with younger voters. Take 30 seconds and speak directly to younger voters about why they should overlook all this back and forth on student debt and still turn out and support him.
Overlook? They should pay close attention to exactly what's happened on student loan debt, because they should see right up front, one side, the Republicans, the extremists on the Supreme Court, are doing everything they can to block students from getting any help in paying for college. That Supreme Court is willing to ignore the language of the law and say, nope, no help for these kids. And the Republicans pound the table, no help for these people. The Democrats, led by Joe Biden, is out there trying to use every tool in the toolbox to say, if you tried to get an education, then America's on your side. We're going to do what we can to help you. And he aimed that. I just want to make 2 quick points. He aimed it at the people who are making the most modest incomes. 90% of the help would go to people making less than $75,000 a year. He also aimed it at help closing the racial wealth gap. African Americans borrow more money to go to school, more money while they're in school, have a harder time paying it off. He designed a program that was a president's best effort to help close the racial gap in America. So I want young people to pay attention to what's going on student loans.